let me know when you're able to see it.
Okay, I see Hushmail and I see the website.
Perfect. So yeah, so this is the Hushmail website. All of the information, if you're looking for anything, it's available on hushmail.com. Obviously, plans for healthcare are kind of at the highlight because it's our main offering. But if you jump into there, you can take a look at all of our different plans and what's included.
Right.
But also, if you already have an account, this is where you're going to go to sign in. So you just go to hushmail.com,
Mhm.
and then up in the top right-hand corner, there's a little sign in button over here. You just click on that,
Right.
and when you sign in, you land in an inbox. It looks similar to this. So what's nice is that it was also meant to be streamlined, right? So there's nothing on here that should jump out and intimidate anybody. It should be very, very, very familiar, right? If you're coming from
Mhm.
a Gmail or a Yahoo or something like that. If I go to compose a message, even a lot of this should be pretty straightforward and accessible and familiar. But if I click on add form, or if I go down to this section here, you'll notice we have the option to encrypt,
Yeah.
right? So that, along with the other things I mentioned, the BAA and the email archiving, works hand in hand to make this account HIPAA compliant.
Mhm.
So there's that, and the forms that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to send out a quick sample email to a test Gmail account that I have, so you can see what it looks
Mhm.
like on the receiving end. But let's send this to our test Gmail account here, Britta Belomo, and we're gonna do test message, and we're gonna add a form so you can
Mhm.
see what the forms look like. You'll notice as soon as we added the form, this is different. I think people, and understandably so, people can get that mixed up with the option to attach files. You
Right.
absolutely can attach files. You absolutely can add images, and even then, it would still be encrypted. But in this case, we're adding a Hush secure form, which means it's fillable without them needing to download anything. Let's see what that looks like in this moment here.
Okay.
I'll put in some text just so you can see the layout. Um, and we'll send it off.
Mhm.
So when we send the message, we can jump into our test account and let's refresh this. There we go. So we had our message come in here, and it's coming from Raymond Rogers, our test Hushmail account, and we have the subject line here that we put in. If I click on
Mhm.
that, we don't see the message, right? And again, that's not what we want. We want them to be able to keep the information secure off of the servers, whether that's Google or Yahoo or etc. And instead, we can get them to access it on a secure web page. So if I click on read your secure email,
Mhm.
here we're prompted with the sign in to that page, right? So we've already set this up to use Google to verify it. So if I click on that, it will just verify that way. And there we go. And here is that kind of mini little Hushmail inbox that we were talking about earlier. So if they had more than one message, that'd be
Mhm.
available to them on the left column here. They can kind of cycle through that. We have the main message that I sent. And if I scroll down, we have this online billable form. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the actual format. And this is what it looks like, right? So all of these fields can be filled in just like that, right? We have a date of birth here. So they want to, they were born yesterday. There we go.
Mhm.
And you can start filling in the fields, 123 Street Lane, phone number, email address, right? So the
Okay.
point is all of these fields are fillable. You'll notice some of them have the little red asterisk here, meaning it's
Right.
required, and you
Required.
can
Yep.
exactly. So you can toggle whichever ones you want required or not. Yeah, and then we have some basic information here. So we can say response, and just so you can see what the line of text looks like when we receive that.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and hit submit. So if I hit submit here, it gives us a little confirmation message, just says your form has been submitted.
Mhm.
And then if we jump back into the inbox here, and check the email, there we go. We have now, and I'll zoom in here because everything looks so tiny now. But if I jump in here, we have this message from Britta Belomo, and it says clinical intake form. We have this little green padlock that indicates that it's encrypted. If I click on that, we have the filled out form, right? So the form, I mean, mostly, partially
I can
filled out.
see that it's downloadable as a PDF form, correct?
Exactly. You're right. Yeah. So you can download the PDF there, and you can keep a local copy of it or upload it to a CRM. In goodness, EHR or EMR, and have it stored there.
Okay. So two questions that follow immediately.
Sure.
One is, can one design within your interface a new form that you don't offer? And two, I do a lot of mental health care for teenagers and younger kids. Can these forms automatically produce results by, calculation? So like a GAD form, can it provide me with a score?
Yes, and yes. So your first question is, can we create custom forms?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Number two is, do we have the standardized forms like the GAD7, the PHQ9, and some of the, I'll show you what templates we do have available, but
you have a PHQ9 too. Okay, I didn't see that. All right.
Yeah. So I'll jump onto the form templates here, and we can take a look at what we do have. Just kind of scan this real quick, but so we have these basic general forms, secure contact. These can be embedded if you want onto a website if you have one. That way people can, even from your website, submit these things securely. Things like, there's the audit form. We have the depression, anxiety, stress scales. That's a standardized form.
So I see the GAD. Do you have a PHQ9?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all in alphabetical. So
it is. Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll pull it up so you can see. But to answer your other question, yes, it does generate a score at the end. What that means, so even though all of our other forms are customizable, these standardized ones like the PHQ9 or the GAD7, these cannot be customized because they have to be able to generate the score. So these ones can't be revised at all, but everything else can. But, anybody that's familiar with this form is going to be familiar with these fields. These are radio buttons, and they function as you'd expect. And then they have a little submit button. But I'll show you. So that's the PHQ9. If you've ever seen one, that's that's going to be familiar. But I'll show you, what it looks like to edit or you know what? Let's start from scratch. So I'll jump into an empty form here. Create empty form. This is what that looks like, right? So it's drag and drop functionality, which people typically find works.
It looks fantastic already. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So there are certain things. It's funny speaking with customers. I know this platform really well, but you'd be surprised when you get feedback on other platforms. But one that I've heard is that even just being able to revise like the width of a field is like a luxury coming from some other one. So I don't know what they were using, but it's things like that I think are quality of life improvements that just make things a little bit nicer. Right? So you'll notice I added a short text field. I edited what it was called, and I set it to required. Right, so it's easy as that. And then I can add in things like a drop-down menu.
Right.
And it's easy to edit. So if I click on drop-down, we can say select your provider, for example. And we have option 1, option 2. You can add more options.
Oh, that's great. Love it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Let's say there's a form that is not yet in your library of special forms that need to be calculated. So if I have a specialty practice of some sort, so is there a charge for you developing that form?
I guess the short answer is that like with forms like that, typically there's some sort of copyright. So unless
I
we can
see.
get
All right.
permission, yeah, from whoever actually created it, and it is something we work on. So when we started, not all of those standardized forms were available
Right.
when we started with the forms, right? So it is something that we're constantly developing. We're like, I know our product team is constantly reaching out to copyright owners to see if they'll allow us to build it out on the platform.
Hmm.
So you'll notice, yeah, like on a regular basis, we're adding to that library of
I
templates.
see. So
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was that complicated, but it does make sense, obviously, if something
yeah,
has a copyright. So very interesting. All right.
yeah.
This is terrific.
I think the other thing that's worth mentioning there is what isn't under a copyright. Like if a provider has their own intake form and they love the existing format, then they can, I mean, just as you say, like they can absolutely recreate that here, right? Or they can send
Right.
it to us and we can do it for them. That is a service that we offer.
Hmm.
So sometimes, they'll have these really complex intake forms or questionnaires. And though this is pretty easy to use, it just, like just looking at it, like it would take some time to do one of those complex ones. So we offer to do that for them as well if they
Right.
like.
Okay. That is great. Okay. And do you have a lot of competition out there, or do you want to say why? In prior to contacting you, I did a little research, but I liked the offerings on your website. It seemed very affordable and includes the things that most providers would, be happy using at a very reasonable price.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say small to medium practices were definitely built to to support all throughout the process, right? So
Mhm.
uh, the that missing part of, if you're a small to medium practice, or if you're just getting started out, you typically don't have the resources to have an IT professional that's dedicated to helping you with every bit of this. So we fill that need through our customer care team, our onboarding, and even at the sales side of things when you're first getting oriented with what's available. Um, we everything that's in our plans is we try to make it as easy to interpret right off the get go, so that you know exactly what you're getting. But I'll tell
Mhm.
you right now, if you need HIPAA compliance, it's all included, right? There is no additional
Right,
add-on fee, which sometimes, unfortunately, other
right.
HIPAA compliant
Okay.
services will
So
offer.
let's say, just out of curiosity, and you must
Yeah,
have this in your library. Do you have a HIPAA form for a patient to sign? Is there
yeah,
signing included in this?
absolutely. Yeah. So e-signatures are a big feature that people will sign up for. Absolutely. So if we have, let's say, a consent form, I'm still
Mhm.
on the screen share. I'm not sure if we still have that open, but yeah, absolutely. So um, looks like a standard form, but at the end we have this little signature field, and if they click on it, they're presented with the option to type, to draw it,
Mhm.
or to upload an image. Legally binding e-signature, HIPAA compliant, and you can customize all the rest of the form. So yes, absolutely. To answer your question, and it's it's a big one that we get asked about all the time. Yeah, so I'm glad
Right.
you asked.
Yeah. And isn't there, when someone comes to a new practice, there's a HIPAA enrollment or acknowledgement form? It must be in your library. Can you bring that up?
Yeah, so like a telehealth consent form.
Yeah, or even welcome to the practice. Don't isn't there a specific HIPAA form? I haven't needed to sign it, but when you're new to, a practice, isn't there? Is it just a consent form, or is there something specific for HIPAA that's
Um,
included in a consent form?
yeah, so typically people will have their own version of that and then they just add it in. But it's the
Okay.
easiest thing to do. So we don't have like a boilerplate version of that because
Mhm.
um I guess for legal reasons people like to have their own specific
Their
verbiage
own
in there.
version.
Yeah,
So if I were to create a form, a consent form, I could do that and include a signature block.
absolutely. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
very, I mean, that takes literally 30 seconds, right? So if I
Okay.
already have the block of text, I can just copy and paste it into a formatted text field and
Okay.
then add a signature at the bottom.
I
That's all you
see.
need.
And a body chart too. Oh, check that out. Show me
Oh
what that
yeah,
looks like.
body charts are nice, fully customizable, and basically, yeah, the way it works
Oh,
is they can the patients can mark areas where they're experiencing pain.
hmm
You can customize this. So let's say it's not a pain chart. You can put in like dentists will use a
hmm
they'll replace this image with an image of the mouth, and they'll indicate which teeth or whatever, and you can specify either, I guess, pain types if that's what
Oh,
you're
this
going
is
for.
excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.